like to call this Flint City Council meeting to order, and again, apologize for getting started late. I'm trying to get things all together on this afternoon. Roll call, Madam Clerk, please.
Mr. Lloyd?
Present.
Ms. Popla?
Present.
Mr. Freeman is absent. Mr. Lawler?
Present.
Mr. Neely?
Present.
Mr. Wayhill?
Here.
Mr. Sargentson?
Here.
Mr. Kincaid?
Here.
Thank you.
Let me just, for the record, make the announcement that Councilman Freeman is out of town and was scheduled to be out of town today, so he couldn't be here. And Councilman Nolden is with Clarissa Shields. She's coming back bringing gold to Flint, so that's where they are. All right, Councilwoman Poplar, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jackie. Is there any special order or unfinished business this evening, Madam Clerk?
No, Mr. President.
Okay. This is a time set aside for members of the public to address the City Council. I would ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes, refrain from personal attacks on individuals or institutions, and if you are called to order by either myself or any council persons, we will ask you to take your seat. And if you do not, we will ask for you to be escorted out. And hopefully, we can get off to a great start and not have to do that. So, first to be called this evening, Madam Clerk.
R.L. Mitchell.
Mr. Mitchell.
My name is R.L. Mitchell, and I want to congratulate Scott Kincaid through the city clerk, Madam Brown, to you through Scott, for doing a good job about that master plan, but you haven't got all the way because it was 3 kingpins running this so-called city. One of them is the one across the street. You got this sheriff out of there, and that Brown fellow, you got him down, but this other guy, can't hardly call name because one of them is your right-hand man because anyway, you've done a good job, but I'm going to talk to you about this unprecedented heat in Flint. I still got my keys to my landlord's house, and they gave me another house, and I'm feeling the heat from that house because the unprecedented heat, it was $50 a month, now it's $125. I'm feeling the heat from my payee for leaving the windows open, the air conditioning. And everywhere I go, seems like I'm feeling the heat. Because I went to my church out in Burton, they stole the air conditioning off the church, and they make it look like I did it. The guy was out of town, and one of your so-called fire chief, we had a camp out. He asked me where was my tent. I didn't want to say my tent was in my house, though. He was to get off the property or it won't be. See, I'm still feeling, but you've done a good job, but that jail over there packed. You got to talk in geology to you, man, because you up there running, but anyway, you said my so-called council man coming back with the gold, and I'm going to leave it like that, let somebody else talk.
Thank you, R.L. Our next speaker this evening, Madam Clerk.
Carolyn Shannon.
Shannon.
To the Honorable Mr. President Scott Kincaid, to the Honorable Vice President Dale Wayhill, to the Honorable Inez Brown, City Clerk, and to the Most Honorable City Council. I am very glad to be a citizen of Flint. I love Flint, and I believe you love Flint. But it's something happening in Flint that is belly dirt politics. And I think we all should work together. We should be united to get rid of whatever is happening to Flint. I do believe with all of my heart and with all of my soul and with all of my being that there are enough intelligent people in the city that can run it. If you look all over the country, the whole country is in deficit. But because it's in deficit, we do not need carpetbaggers coming in here to run our city. We need to run our city ourselves. Anyone in this room, I'm confident that they can run the city of Flint. Okay, all the cities all over the country are in deficit. But we must not give up. We must have courage. We must have strength. We must have perseverance to take control of our city. It is wrong what they're doing. I'm watching them. I see what they're doing. It will not work anymore. The city of Flint didn't become in deficit yesterday. The city of Flint became a deficit when the headquarters of General Motors pulled up and left out of here. And if you had read the book, John DeLorean, he left General Motors. He was trying to tell everybody in his book what was going to happen. John DeLorean. I want a piece of the pie. And the way I'm looking at this particular group, I don't see a piece of the pie. So I'm going to ask you very clearly, give me the deeds. I asked the mayor's secretary to give my councilperson, Vice President Dale Wayhill, the deeds of the land across from Doyle Ryder School. I want a piece of the pie. McCree Theater has been in existence over 30 years. I took my children there. And I'm saying, give me a piece of the pie. Give me the deeds. Give them to Dale Wayhill so he can drop them by my house. He knows where I live because he campaigned on my street. And so, if I put you in the office, help me. I'm not asking for much. We deserve a state-of-the-art building, and we deserve it in a neighborhood where all people have access to it. And I want that deed. I know the city is not being run for me. I was in Ford Hospital with the back surgery for 5 days. Then they sent me to Genesis for 3 weeks for recovery. When I got home, I'm the only one that lives there. My water bill was $115. So what I'm saying is,
Chantel, you've exceeded your 5 minutes. Will you please sum up?
okay, what I'm saying is I need somebody to help me tell these people it was an unfair reading because I can prove that I was not home. And I want the city council to fight for their pay. I want you to fight for Mr. Eason's job. You may not like him, but why put another administrator in there when we already have one that we work for? I didn't just work for Dane Walling. I work for the other people on his staff. And all I'm saying is I want a piece of the pie. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Councilman Wayhill?
Carolyn, I'll be happy to help you with the water bill. If you want to stay after the meeting, we can talk about it. Okay?
Okay. Excuse me. Our next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Naira Sharif.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm here today to discuss the negative impact of a couple of emergency manager, now city administrators, couple of his last orders before he came out of power. 2012 EM 503 and order number 33. 2012 EM 503 enters into an authorizing agreement for the Food Bank of Eastern Michigan to take over 3 acres of Brennan Park and turn it into a parking lot. Order 33 eliminates the Citizens District Councils, Smith Village CDC, I-475 Neighborhood Development CDC, Flint Park Lake CDC, and it also eliminates the Citywide Advisory Committee. For these orders to come at the beginning of the citywide master planning process, this is morally abhorrent. As a city resident, I answered the call to seek out and encourage individuals to fill out the application to serve on the advisory committees for the City of Flint master plan. Now, I wonder if this was an exercise in futility. The Southside neighborhood has spent over a year in creating a neighborhood plan. They met, they did neighborhood inventory, and wrote up a plan envisioning usage for Brennan Park, the Southside neighborhood, and Thread Lake. The CDCs and the Citywide Advisory Committee traditionally have provided input for the allocation of community development block grant dollars. For the city to suddenly silence the voice of the people in the process of allocation of CDBG dollars is repugnant, and it's also socially unacceptable. I hope that this is not the beginning of the dismantling of our park system. Self-efficacy is defined as having the ability and knowledge to make your own decisions. The decisions by EM Emergency Manager, City Administrator Mike Brown have demonstrated that he believes that we are, as citizens, are untrustworthy and not knowledgeable to direct CDBG dollars. Yet, $750,000 in CDBG dollars was allocated to demolish Genesee Towers. As we are embarking on the master planning process, the city is asking for residents to be involved. But you already disrespected citizens' efforts to be proactive in planning for the future of their community. I hope and I pray that the council will roll back these orders and find ways to embrace transparency and access in government. With only the Economic Development Corporation making decisions for community development block grant dollars, you are demonstrating that if you ain't got the right job or the right position, then you don't got a voice in the process. So I really hope that you are really going to fight for the people and fight for more voices in this particular, and like really everywhere. So thank you very much, and hopefully you're going to do the right thing.
Mr. President,
Thank you, Nairi. Yes, Councilman Lawler.
thank you. I was going to speak to this, but I want to thank Naira, for coming forth and bringing this to the public's attention because as Councilwoman Poplar mentioned last week about the elimination of this, of the CDC's order number 33, you know, it's appalling, and it doesn't make sense that Mike Brown would eliminate the CDCs and not utilize the partnerships of the CDCs to be a part of the overall efforts of the master planning process. I was the chair of the Northeast Village CDC when it started out with the name of the I-475 CDC, and that's what it's named in the order number 33, but the name did change to the Northeast Village Citizens District Council. But the Smith Village Citizens District Council was organized in the late 1900s, and then 1990s, I'm sorry. And then the Flint Park Lake was organized, and then Northeast Village Citizens District Council was organized in early 2000. And those CDCs have been working in, you know, effortless, I mean, just really diligently working to improve their community. And they faithfully have been working to serve and improve their community, to redevelop their communities. The State Public Act gives the right for the citizens of the city of Flint to organize a Citizens District Council when it has blighted communities such as ours. And so this was organized under the State Public Act. I think it's Public Act 44 of 1945, if you want to look it up. Now, for Mike Brown to come and eliminate the CDCs, the efforts that these individuals have been working tirelessly for these many years, it is a slap in the face of this community. And it makes you question, it makes you wonder why. And, you know, I was hoping that somebody from the administration would be here and answer some of these questions about these 60-something resolutions that he passed in the 11th hour. And certainly I was going to ask him a question about the CDCs as it relates to the Smith Village, the project that we know now being the new Smith Village housing development. It was birthed out of the Smith Village CDC. Even though we are having political struggles getting it completed now, which is nonsense, it's still, why do we have to fight as a people to get what's rightly and justly deserving to the people? A well-established community, a community, you know, that is thriving. Why do people have to fight what is rightly theirs? So it makes you question, what was his motives? What was his reasoning in doing so? Now, when Mike Brown sold the Genesee Towers for $1 to the Uptown Reinvestment, he sold $1. He sold it for $1. Then he also did a resolution for $275,000 to do the demolition. $750,000. I'm sorry, $750,000 to do the demolition. Now, that money is coming from community block grant dollars. That money could have been contributed to the CDCs. That money could have been contributed to demolition of homes, of dilapidated homes throughout our community to remove the blight. But yet, He concentrates on development of downtown, tax breaks to the downtown area, and to give more community block grant dollars to the downtown area. So I asked Mike Brown the question, why do you give tax abatements to the downtown businesses and continue to give assess fees of high water, sewage, trash, lights, and now they want to pass a $6 million public safety millage? Why do you continue to overtax the poor? The poor. People are struggling to pay their water bill. As we just heard, everybody's struggling to pay their water bill. People are struggling to just survive because of these high fees that they're having to pay in their community. So there needs to, he doesn't have an answer. His answer is always silent. And I publicly asked him this question, and he didn't respond. But there needs to be a balance. I understand the purpose of giving tax abatements to have economic growth, but it needs to be a balance. If you look at this, it is the same Republican agenda on the national, the state, and now the local level. It's the same Republican agenda. President Barack Obama is fighting the same fight on the national level. Stop the corporate welfare and penalizing the poor. And we're doing the same thing here on the local level. So we do need to fight. We need to fight this issue of all of these resolutions, these unnecessary resolutions that was passed in the 11th hour, and we need to look behind the reasoning for all of these resolutions that were unnecessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Lawler. Councilwoman Poplar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, am with Mr. Lawler on the CDC matters. And I'm trying to do some type of investigation here. I believe that he may have violated federal laws on the CDC. I do believe that it has something to do with federal laws that we must have these CDCs. So I don't have all the information, but I'm not going to let this war that Lansing has waged on the poor cities. And if you look, the state of Michigan has waged a war. They have taken the civil rights. I believe our civil rights have been violated in the city. And the reason why I'm saying that, this city is supposed to provide safety for the people that live in the city. It's stated in black and white that you must provide safety. And we don't have safety, and they're taxing us to death. And they're laughing at it. They have put a chain, a noose around the city of Flint, and they think it's a joke. Mr. Brown is wrong. I don't see how he sleeps at night. He is wrong. He is wrong. He wants to give tax break after tax break after tax break. And we as citizens have to continue pay. You have to take your pills, cut them in half. You have to go to the grocery store and buy dog food to make meatloaf with. This is happening in our city. So we need to start standing up. And if it comes to the point where we don't pay the taxes, see how the city runs then. Because you sure can't put all of us in the jail together. So we got to start banding together. We got to start banding together. If your house is not across the street in foreclosure, you don't have to pay them taxes on time. And if everybody quit paying taxes for the next in October, see where the heck you stand at then. But we got to stand together, not divided anymore. It's not a black, it's not a white. This is us, and they are making examples out of these cities. And people, you better look at the big picture, because they trying to run you out of the city. They doing everything they can. They trying to take your land from you. They laugh every time somebody pack up and say they leaving the city of Flint. They somewhere laughing about it. I looked today on my way down here. There's people sitting on top of cans, drinking, looking pitiful, holding up everybody. Mike Brown don't go and see that. He gets on 69 and rides back to his perfect paddy community and be happy about it. But we're the ones that see this. And I enlisted you right up and down Grand Traverse, and you look at what's there. They don't care about those people. He don't come on the north side of town. When's the last time you seen right over there? He don't care about you. So I'm asking you, band together. People, it's a war waged on you, and they're going to get you out of here and take your land any kind of way they can, and they're showing you, if you don't stand together, you're going to fall and bury each other. That's all I got to say. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go there, but that's the way I feel. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. So some of y'all need to be sick and tired. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Anyone else? Our next speaker this evening, Madam Clerk.
David Davenport.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening, David.
Everything you all just said is what I was trying to tell you. When I was fussing and recalling and doing this and doing that, there's no reason this city should go without public safety. But now we got 120 bodies piled up from a person that claimed they're a Democrat. But I'm not here to attack. There's some things that Brown did that I don't agree with, and some things he did I do agree with. I agree with the tax for public safety. I said it should have been done at first, before they laid off the police officers and firemen and watched the city burn down and bodies pile up. It should have been done exactly first, before the water tax and all the other taxes. Maybe we could have saved some lives. Maybe we could have saved some people's property. Maybe we could have afforded it then. Now can we afford it? Man, it's ridiculous. But he did it last. Genesee Towers. I haven't really sat down and studied the law, but I'm pretty sure that you can't sell the building for $1 after people done put $100 and something out of, into it per person. So what I'm asking is the city to look into seeing if they can do something like that. Because anything you sell, you have to get a profit off of. As far as the state law, I believe it was concerned. $1 is not a big enough profit to help a financial situation. Mr. Bade's gone. So, but that's something I think you all as the city should look into and see if he was allowed to just sell it for $1. Because I believe every citizen need to get their money back if they're gonna tear it down. So do check into that. Yeah, that's right. And we need our money back also. I'm also here. I got a list of things. I'm also here also because I am on the ballot for the 5th Congressional District here in the state of Michigan. In the newspaper the other day, they put out that my platform was to college tuition for all students, and also seniors don't have to pay property tax. I'm gonna start with the first one, college tuition for all students. I believe that should be a must. If we can pay taxes for everybody's kid to go to school from elementary through high school, what's another 4 more years? I can clearly see if it was something that I could just take and tear up and throw away. Education is not something that you can throw away. It's nothing that it can wear out. And it's something that children, because they're still children once they graduate from high school, they're not adults. It's still something that they need before we should push them out in the streets and say you're on your own now. Okay? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of parents. Right now, if you're poor, you can get a grant and you don't have to pay to go to college, do you? So what I'm saying is that why are we charging the rich people for their kids to get education? To me, a kid is a kid. I don't care if they're rich, poor, whatever. But I think that we all should pay a 10% at least, if not 5, but 10% of our earnings. And then we are able to write it off on our income tax, and just like they do federal income tax. It ought to go to the same thing. But at least we won't have to worry about our kids saying, I wonder if my kid's going to get an education in this lifetime. Will I be able to afford it because they're raising taxes like crazy? This is something that I don't think that kids should have to worry about because they're just starting. They're trying to make it. We as grown folk, we already made it. Let's help kids, no matter whose kid it is. All kids are equal. And that's what I think we should do. And that's what I'm going to fight for as I get up in Congress here in January. The second part, senior citizens taxes, property tax. They shouldn't have to pay property tax. They've gotten us where we are today. Why are we charging them for a building sitting on a piece of land? It doesn't make sense. I can see if the building was sliding over every day, causing problems. It's doing nothing. It's doing nothing. Seniors have gotten where they are. These taxes being raised on these seniors is causing them to have to worry about, are they going to be able to live for tomorrow? It's sad, it's ridiculous, and we need to stop it. Because you know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you like this. All of those 5,000 houses sitting at the land bank, you think they paying taxes? Those 5,000 houses, ain't nobody paying taxes on them, are they? But they're sitting there. If somebody was paying taxes on it, I'd be happy to keep things going.
Mr. Davenport, you've exceeded your 5 minutes. Would you please sum up?
Oh, sure. Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
In summing up, basically, I would just like to say to the people that we can't keep electing people to these offices that are just in there for the fun of it, or just because, they feel like they deserve to be there. Public Act 4, Public Act 72, what we're fighting now. Someone up there in federal Congress could have written some legislation to change this if they wanted to. These are the same people that are saying, I love you, I care about you, but did they do anything? They haven't done nothing at all. So straight up, I'm just being honest with y'all. You need to get somebody in the office that cares and is going to know where you're coming from and been where you've been, okay? So hopefully I can get your support. And if I can't, I'm still going to love you as brothers and sisters in Christ. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David. Our next speaker this evening, Madam Clerk.
Barbara Griffiths Wilson.
Hello, my name is Barbara Griffith Wilson.
Good evening.
And I want to piggyback on Naira about the park. I have before me a use agreement for the city property of Brennan Park. This use agreement was drawn up on the 8th of this month. Isn't that the day that the EFM decided to write up all those resolutions? But in this use agreement, he has authorized, in consideration of the contractor's payment of $1 US for Brennan Park, the contractor